Hello, Donnie Smith here, and welcome to the Does That Really Work Auto Show. This is the show that tests tips, tricks, and products to see if they really work or not. In this episode, we're going to test some clear coat. Now, this clear coat, if it works as it says it works, it's a new clear coat by PPG DC2000. Now, this clear coat's a little different because it has no flash time. So, in other words, you put it on back to back, put a coat on, immediately followed by a second coat. The second thing that it says it'll do, that it's dust-free in 10 minutes. So, after 10 minutes, you don't have to worry about dirt getting mixed into the clear coat. And the last thing that it says it will do is that you can sand and buff this in 25 to 30 minutes, and this is without any heat, not baking. So if this is true, I can see how this could be real beneficial, for a body shop that's high production body shop, but also if you don't have the best working conditions, if you a do-it-yourself or out there that does this and don't have the real high grade paint booth, this means that you're going to come out with a lot cleaner jobs, because there's only a small time in there that the paint's wet that you can get dirt in. If you've done any painting, you know that dirt's your problem, that's your enemy, and that's what you're always fighting. Painters are always fighting dirt. But being able to put this on back to back and it be dust free in 10 minutes, the chances of dirt getting in that are a lot less than the traditional way. The clears I've been using, you put a coat on, you wait 15 minutes, and then you have to put a second coat on, and then it takes it a while to be dust free, and then in order for it to dry at any time, any faster rate, has to be baked. So there's a longer window there that something has a chance to fall in and stick to the clear. So if this works like it says, this would be great for the the do-it-yourselfers out there, and for the body shops. But this clear is not designed for complete paint jobs. It dries faster, and if you try to do a complete paint job, you wouldn't get around fast enough before the dry overspray wouldn't be able to melt in. So this is only for if you're doing a door, or you're spraying a small part, 2 parts. It's only for a couple of, it says multiple, I think, but if you're doing 1, 2, 3 parts, that's what it's designed for. More than that, you're probably not going to be able to use this clear. So if you're someone out there wanting to do a complete paint job, this is something you probably don't want to try. But if you just got something that you're a door, or something you're wanting to paint, we'll test this and see if it really works or not. Okay, Donnie Smith here, and we are putting this clear coat to the test. In fact, this is a real test because this is an actual job that we're doing it on. I normally like to do, if I'm experimenting with something, on something that's not live work that we're trying to get ready, but this is one that we really needed it to work because we was in a bind, running behind. This was the last day of school, and he needed to drive this home today. So we was really hoping that this clear works the way it says it does. This is I think PPG's newest clear, and what it says to do is put 2 coats on, 2 coats of clear coat, back to back, wet. No flash time. In other words, you don't wait in between coats like you do most clears. A lot of clears you put a coat on, wait 15 minutes, and then put another coat on, and then it takes it a long time to dry, before you can buff, even if you bake. Did you know that there wasn't masking tape when we was painting cars? Yeah, they started painting cars before masking tape or any type of tape was ever invented. It wasn't until they started wanting to spray two-tones, and they was trying to use paper, and they'd put some type of adhesive or glue and put the paper on the car and trying to make these two-tones. Well, that's whenever Guy 3M seen the need for it, and that's when tape was invented. So sometimes we take some of these things for granted, but how would you like to be someone out there, whether you're a do-it-yourself or someone at a body shop, trying to do these jobs without tape? But this clear is supposed to be able to put 2 coats back to back, no heat, no baking or anything like that, and be dry and ready to sand and buff in 30 minutes. So we did what the directions said. He had some parts here. He had a bumper and grill. He put a coat on the bumper, then the grill, then back to the bumper, and then the grill, immediately after following each coat. And he also had a hood. And after he's done with these parts, he went to the hood and he put 1 coat on the hood, immediately followed by another coat. And here's a quick tip for you when painting. Whenever you're painting, you want to keep everything level and even. You want to keep your gun speed and distance the same. And what you really want to do is think like a robot. If you think at the plants, the manufacturers, if you think how those robots, they do everything exactly the same every time. And if you will try to have that consistency and try to make each pass overlap the next one, and just exactly the same, and follow the panel contours, that will help improve your spraying technique. The reason we had to get this back together, and we only had, from the time he's painting it right here, probably a little over an hour to be able to have that thing ready to leave. So if it didn't work the way it said it was going to, we was going to be in trouble. So we put the 2 coats on, and after he finishes this, we walk out of the booth. We don't turn any heat on, and we wait exactly 30 minutes. Believe me, we was watching the clock because we're needing these parts to be dry and ready to put back on. When we're talking about paint, one of the questions I get asked a lot is, can I wax my car after you paint it? And the answer is no, you can't. And the reason you can't do that, paint is dry after it's painted, but it's not cured. There's still solvents and things that need to evaporate out of there. And if you wax on top of that, you're sealing all that in there, and your paint can't fully cure. Now, through the years, I have heard all kind, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So I wasn't even sure. And here a while back when I was asked that question, I called PPG, their tech line, just to see what they said. To me, I felt like 30 days should be fine. If it's, should be fully cured in 30 days. But they said 90 days. So you cannot wax your car for 90 days because that's the amount of time it takes for your paint to fully cure. After the 90 days, give it a coat of wax because that's going to protect your paint then, from the elements of the environment and things getting on it. It helps protect your paint. But until then, no wax. So as soon as we waited that 30 minutes, he did have a dirt nib in his bumper. So we wanted to go ahead and test that to see if it did work the way it was supposed to. So we got the denibber system and we sanded out a piece of dirt that was on the bumper. We got a polisher out and we polished the bumper, and it worked. It sanded fine, it polished up fine, and we'd had absolutely no issues or problems with that. So as far as this clear coat working the way it claims, it did a great job. In fact, we was able to get the parts, get them back on the vehicle, and he drove it home that day. And like I said just a minute ago, we didn't have much time. This was towards the end of the day before we got to this point. So this is one of those, you just want to do a couple of parts. It's probably dry too fast to try to do a complete or anything like that. But if you're doing a couple of parts, I'd say this clear coat works great. And here we are, putting it all back together last minute. If you work in a body shop, you know how that is. Got it put back together, and now it's complete. And now he's driving it home. Well, that was my first time to ever use this clear. In fact, I think it's a new clear that they have. And it worked as it said. It went on. We put it on wet to wet, one coat right after the other, and waited the 30 minutes. It says 25 to 30, but we waited 30 minutes. Went in there and hit it with sandpaper. It was a little bit scary. It's like kind of afraid we was going to mess it up, but it didn't. It sanded. It sanded to a powder like it should when it's dry, and it buffed fine, no problems. And like I mentioned in the video, we put it back together. Shortly after that, right after we was done buffing, we grabbed the stuff, took it over there, put it together. We was very careful. Now, do want to mention that even though paint is dry or clear coat is dry, it's not fully cured for long, fully cured paint. But being careful, we put it back together, and he was able to get it home that day.